Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about negative mindset and how we can eliminate this mindset or minimize them, if not conquer them altogether. All right. And today we begin by asking ourselves a few questions. And once these questions have been answered, we shall be able to identify what is this mindset and how is it affecting me. So question number one, do you have what we call polarized thinking? Right? Do you overthink things before you make a decision? I'm talking about are you this kind of a person, when you want to make a decision, you have to research and even over research, and by the end of the day, you find yourself with all this information that even stops you from making a decision to begin, right? Question number two, do you classify things either as 100% done or failed? Okay, so you only have two categories of how you analyze things. If it is done well, it has to be 100%. Anything short of 100% is viewed as a failure, and therefore it is discarded as worthless, right? And not worth being mentioned about. Number three, very interesting question. Do you have problems meeting deadlines? Okay. Do you always find yourself beginning a project very well, maybe even almost getting to the end, but as you start editing, you tweak and tweak again and tweak more until at the end of the day, you never meet your deadlines, okay? And what is even more interesting, whilst you began with one project, you find yourself ending with 3 or 4 projects that are not completed. All right. So we go to number 5. How is your self-worth defined? Do you find yourself defining your self-worth depending on how people regard your project, the feedback you get from people? So that if you get positive feedback, you feel worth, your worth is high, and if for any reason there are flaws found in your project, you actually feel your self-worth dipping. 6, how about errors? Okay, do you over obsess about errors? Are you the kind of a person, if a word is flashed before you and there is a spelling mistake, you get so obsessed, so caught up on the error that you're not able to move past it, and in your mind you keep editing, you keep correcting this over and over, and it could actually hinder you from learning anything new because you're stuck on the error. Okay, number 7, do you feel elated when people praise your work? Do you feel that when you produce this flawless work, it actually defines who you are? And then number 8, this is a very big one. Do you procrastinate beginning or starting a project? Not just normal procrastination, but because you never feel like it is the right time to start anything. For example, have you ever thought of writing a book, but you keep pushing the beginning, the start of this book, because you don't feel emotionally, physically, mentally ready to begin, and you never seem to have that perfect time to start this project, therefore you keep postponing it? Or on the other hand, have you been thinking of starting your YouTube channel, but you're afraid that you're not at your highest level of fitness, or your skin is not flawless, or you don't have a studio yet, a perfect camera, and you have been pushing this away over and over again, saying, I will do this when I have all these things aligned? Okay, if you answered a yes to 50% of the question, that is 4 or more questions above, let me enlighten you. You have what we call the perfectionist mindset. All right, you have the mindset known as the perfectionist mindset. Now, interestingly, I know most of us say over and over, I am a perfectionist. We introduce ourselves and give ourselves these attributes. It will be shocking to know that, all right? Find out what that means. If you are still here, I want to say thank you for joining this channel. Kindly subscribe down below. Please follow me. Let us get to learn what mindset we might be having that might be stopping us from being who we were created to be, and thus not living to our fullest potential. So, as I was saying, if you answered yes to 4 or more of the above questions, you have what we call the perfectionist mindset. Now, perfectionist mindset is a negative mindset. Why do I say that? Yes, I know for most of us, it's going to be a shocker because we throw in this attribute that I am a perfectionist and we believe it is a good thing. And I will tell you this, most of us confuse perfectionism for attention to detail. Now, attention to detail is a very good attribute that we should all endeavor to have. But perfectionism is not good because one, it stops you, it hinders you from taking actions and thus stalls you from growing. And anything that stops you from growing, that seems to paralyze you into not taking action or seems to control you, is not good. Okay, we also are aware that being a perfectionist may also be showing up in our lives as different attributes. Okay, for example, do you find yourself getting irritable with other people because they don't seem to care so much how they do things? You hold a grudge over small things, which could be even an error, small error that can be ignored, but you don't find it possible within yourself to ignore that. All right, therefore it could also be manifesting itself in constant feeling of discontentment. You keep wondering, why isn't everyone operating at their greatest or their highest potential or meeting the high standards that you have set? Do you find yourself are being dissatisfied in relationships? You feel like you have to let go of yourself if this relationship is to work. Those are just some of the ways in which this perfectionism mindset seems to actually show up in our day-to-day life. It is even sad that sometimes it may actually show up as a physical discomfort. You could be suffering from what we know as the irritable bowel syndrome because you're always on the edge, you're always irritated, you're always discontented because nobody seems to be meeting your very, very high standard. I want to say this. If you have identified yourself and said, yes, this is me, this is what I'm going through, I want to congratulate you because you are already in the way, right on the road to freedom. Why? Because the biggest hurdle that perfectionists face is actually owning up to the fact that they could be suffering from it. Because for a perfectionist, the challenge is never with them, it is always with somebody else. Therefore, if you can admit that this is affecting you negatively, you are actually doing better than most. Okay, so finally, maybe the questions you're wondering, okay, I have identified, I have admitted I am going through this, so what next? Okay, it is very simple. Now I want you to know that there are so many other ways and steps that you can take to change or to counter this, to empower yourself so that you can conquer this negative mindset, and we shall look at only a few of them. There are more, and I would encourage you, now that you have owned up, okay, I would encourage you to even study more so that you can find out how do you change this? How do you eliminate this negative mindset? Number one, fine-tune your standards. Yes, you're operating at a very high standards, which are not attainable for most people. It is okay to fine-tune your standards so that, right, they do not have to be that high. Okay, actually these very, very high standards are getting in the way of your winning or achieving more success. Remember the questions we asked above. Is it stopping you even from taking action? So these high standards that you have set are actually stealing from you. Number two, even as you relate with other people, it is okay to let them be who they are and appreciate them without looking to change them or demanding that they change. All right, at the beginning it may be very disconcerting for you, but as you keep doing this, you will ease that, and you'll notice even the tension between you and other people you could be relating to will actually not suffer. It will even be much better. Now, thirdly, this is a big one I want to end with, is challenge that perfectionist mindset. All right, challenge it and ask yourself, where did I get this? Are other people operating and being successful without embracing this perfectionism? Yes, how can I also do that? It is okay to hand in a project that has some flaws. Flaws do not define you, they're just flaws in the project that you did. All right. And finally, it is important that we understand that true perfection is unobtainable, not obtainable. All right, true perfectionism cannot be obtained. The universe does not even allow that. Look even outside you. When you expected it to be this way, it turns to be this way, because perfectionism does not serve anywhere. All right, just because you do not consider what you have done perfection, it does not mean that you are not good enough. Remember, it is okay to be imperfectly perfect. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Watch out for our next video, where we shall be looking at another negative mindset that we need to vanquish. Thank you.